Chapter 4. Now. Sitting next to Cash, the court proceedings begin. I know something that not even Cash yet knows, but I'm waiting for it to be presented. Why? Maybe because I've been waiting for a long time for this showdown. Maybe because I don't like how the justice system fails so many people, and maybe because I grew up a lot in the past 11 years. I changed into a new person. Maybe a part of me knows I need to be punished, and there's a good possibility that I want to be set free. Maybe it's simply that I want to tell my story. I honestly can't say what the reasons are that I'm not presenting the most important piece of evidence in this trial. It could be that I'm tired. I've lived the lives of 12 different women in the past 11 years. Did I find myself in that time? I'm not sure yet. Maybe. I need to go through the past to figure that out. I do know that I was happy as each woman I became. But do I even know what real happiness is? Do I know who I am?
Are you aware of the charges filed against you, Miss Diamond?
Judge Croesus asks. I look the judge in the eye. Yes, I'm aware.
How do you plea?
Not guilty, Your Honor. There's an instant murmur from the spectators. The judge immediately slams down his gavel. The noise hushes.
Then we shall proceed,
the judge says.
I'll read the charges.
I can feel a shuffle behind me as the spectators lean forward on the edges of their seats. I did some research in the past month while I've been in jail, and didn't see a single case that presented like mine. There are many cases of polygamy, and even cases of bigamy, but nothing can be described quite like mine. They'll be shocked when they realize the truth of it all. I finally turn and catch Steffi's eyes directly behind me. She winks. There isn't a single concern on her face. I smile at her as the judge continues speaking.
Miss Diamond.
He's using my maiden name, since I never got to change my name to Lawrence. Diamond's the name the charges are filed under. Everything happened so quickly after Bentley and I married. We didn't get the time we needed. We didn't get the life we were promised. I want to correct the judge and tell him I should be a Lawrence. But as much as I want to use Bentley's name, I'm not going to bring disrespect onto the Lawrence legacy. So, I gladly use Diamond, even if it brings some shame upon my parents. I need to face them. Maybe today I'll be strong enough to do that.
You're being charged with 10 counts of bigamy. Do you understand what that means?
Judge Croesus asks. Yes, Your Honor.
I'll explain it to the jury and the rest of the courtroom,
he says.
One of the main requirements before applying for a marriage license is the dissolution or annulment of all previous marriages. If one intentionally fails to do this, it can result in the crime of bigamy. Simply stated, bigamy can be defined as marrying one person while you are legally married to someone else.
I hear typing behind me as reporters pound away on their keyboards. This is a delectable case for them. They don't know the half of it. The best is yet to come.
The penalties of bigamy vary from state to state, but since this has become a federal crime, all charges have been brought together. The maximum fine is $1 million with 50 years in prison. Do you understand these charges?
I look Judge Croesus in the eyes, my lips turning up in a smile. Yes, Your Honor. He sighs.
Do you want to change your plea or try to reach a settlement?
He pushes. It seems he doesn't want the trial sensationalized, which he knows it will be. No, Your Honor. I still plead not guilty. I say with confidence. The keyboards roar behind me.
All right, then. Are both counsels ready to present their cases?
The judge asks.
Yes, Your Honor.
My attorney and the prosecution say in unison.
Prosecution, please give your opening statement,
Judge Croesus says. A stiff man stands from the table of 4 attorneys. His suit is well fitted, but still off the rack of a mall store. That's a snide thought I immediately push from my mind. I'm poor. The balance in my bank account might belie that statement, but that isn't my money. I haven't earned it. I inherited it. That makes me feel like crying. Live, love, and fly. What's mine is yours. We vow to love each other until our last breaths and beyond. I'm keeping my promise. You must keep yours. Bentley's whispered words flutter through my head and bring tears to my eyes. I'm keeping my promise. I whisper, too low for even Cash to hear. If people knew that I hear the voice of my dead husband, they might stop the trial and lock me away in a mental institution. These people don't understand how true love actually works. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the opposing counsel begins. This is going to be a long day. I feel it. But I want to see what they're going to present. They begin with a lot of moral questions aimed at the jury that have no bearing at all on my case. It's black and white. Did I break the law or didn't I? That's all that needs to be proven. Bigamy should be distinguished from polygamy. The attorney goes on. The average juror has the mentality of a 5th grade education, so they say, and has to be spoken to in simple terms. I think that's an insult to my fellow Americans. People are much smarter than the government gives them credit for. The government and the legal system tend to forget that the people who vote and sit in on cases are their peers, not their subjects. Polygamy is the practice of having more than one partner in the same home. Usually, in polygamy cases, there's only one lawful marriage, and the rest of the marriages aren't legal. I want to tell him that most people of the world have seen the many documentaries on polygamy, but I just smile as I draw flowers on the paper in front of me. Bigamy, on the other hand, is when a person has more than one legal marriage happening at the same time. In most cases of bigamy, one of the spouses is completely unaware that the other has deceived them. Such is the case with Miss Diamond. Objection, Your Honor. Speculation. Cash quickly says as he jumps to his feet. Sustained, the judge says. Be very careful, counsel. I'm sorry, Your Honor, he says, but he doesn't look sorry at all. He got his point across. He wants to make me seem like a lying, horrible human being to the jury. It's much easier to convict a monster than a girl next door, which I'm very aware I look like. Heck, I was the girl next door. Until 11 years ago. Let me restate, the attorney says. Bigamy occurs when a person is married to 2 or more different people at the same time as part of multiple legal marriage contracts. If a person initially fails to have the first, second, third, etc., marriage dissolved before entering into a new marriage contract, he or she can be charged with bigamy. Bigamy occurs when there are 2 or more distinct marriages. Bigamy often revolves around deception. Objection, Your Honor, slamming the defendant again. Overruled, the judge says. It's okay, I whisper to Cash. There's nothing he can say that will bother me. I've done nothing wrong. Cash looks at me with disbelief. I'm scared, Charlie. You could spend the rest of your life in prison. He doesn't show that fear to the court, to the jury, and certainly not to the reporters, but I'm glad he's sharing it with me. It oddly makes me feel calmer. I don't know why I work the way I work. I don't know what short circuit there is in my brain that eases my nerves when the rest of the world is in chaos. Maybe it's because I always feel as if I'm in the eye of a storm. It will all be okay, I assure him. Is there something you haven't told me? He pushes, that light in his eyes shining brighter. You'll know all when it's time, I promise. He stares at me for a solid minute while the prosecutor continues to prattle on. Then he nods. He trusts me. It means more to me than I can put into words. Thank you, Cash, I say. I reach over and pat his hand. We both face forward as the prosecutor goes on and on in his opening statement. Let's take a short break, the judge announces after a 45-minute opening statement. The attorney spouted off a lot of legal jargon. He has no choice, since he has very little evidence besides hearsay. Of course, many innocent people are convicted with nothing more than hearsay. Not in this day and age, though, I assure myself. The break is just long enough for people to use the restroom and get a fresh cup of hot coffee. The day promises to be long. The days are always long when the prosecution is up. No trial becomes interesting until the defense team begins. Everyone knows that. After all, I worked in a legal office for one of my marriages. That was a fun year. Of course, all of the years I was on new adventures were fun in different ways. The judge calls the courtroom back to order after the 15-minute recess and everyone takes their seats. Some didn't bother to leave the courtroom. They were too worried they'd lose their seat, and this trial is too dang good to risk that. Does the defense have their opening statement? The judge asks. Cash stands. Now, the suit he wears certainly hasn't come off a discount rack. No, he's wearing a custom Cesare Attolini high blue window pane fitted suit that cost close to $10,000. With Tom Ford double monk strap leather loafers, his outfit costs more than most people spend on rent for a year. He's dressed for success, and the color of the suit matches his eyes to perfection. Though he's dressed like a millionaire, he looks like a boy next door with his stylish hair that has a cowlick that never quite cooperates, an easy smile, and a very charming nose. He inspires trust in men and lust in women. He's very difficult to beat in the courtroom because jurors absolutely love him. I adored working with him in the courtroom the year before. I hope you're all doing well, Cash says to the jury. I hide my laugh when I see two of the women on the jury blush. Good, he says when a couple of them nod. This case is going to be filled with a lot of drama, a lot of accusation, and a whole lot of BS. He doesn't try to go on, knowing these words will be objected to real quick. Which they are, but it's worth it since the jury snickers. Your Honor, the prosecutor squeaks. Mr. Abernathy, we won't have showboating in this courtroom. Do it one more time, and you'll be fined $5,000, the judge says. Cash looks at the jury and shrugs before turning to the judge. I'm sorry, Your Honor. It won't happen again. It will happen again. I'm sure of it. Cash is good at putting on a show. It's why I'm grateful to have him on my side and not against me. I'm sorry about the interruption, Cash says, but this case is entirely built on hearsay with no clear evidence. So, I feel that all of our time here is wasted, and I'm a man who values my time. He pauses as several of the jurors nod in agreement. No one likes to waste their time. Normally, most of them are grumpy about having to serve jury duty, but this case is so dang delicious, I don't think any mind being here at all. That can certainly work in my favor. I'm giving up a spa day for this case. My nails are a mess, Cash says. That makes several jurors laugh out loud as the judge slams down his gavel. I cover my mouth to keep from laughing. Cash hasn't spent a day of his life in a spa. You were warned, the judge says, as the prosecution gets ready to shout out his outrage. The next warning will be a night in jail. Then I might as well get it over with, Cash says. He gives the jurors a beaming smile. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. That's all it takes. The entire jury box breaks into laughter as the reporters click pictures, no one caring any more about order in the courtroom. Laughter rings out through the room as if they truly are at a circus. I'm looking around for the peanut stand. The judge slams down his gavel, yelling order over and over again, and not a single person listens. Cash delivered the best opening statement he could possibly give. The jury and the press are his puppets, willing to do anything he asks of them. He might have won the case with as few words as possible. Bailiff, take this man to the county jail. Maybe a night behind bars will remind him he's a lawyer and not a ringmaster, the judge orders. Cash dramatically sticks his hands out in front of him, looking like a petulant child as the bailiff approaches, desperately trying not to laugh as his lips twitch. He doesn't ask Cash to place his hands behind his back, just cuffs them in front. Before Cash is led from the courtroom, he turns and gives a bow, which causes more laughter. It takes a solid minute for the chaos to quiet down. We're going to take a recess until tomorrow. I expect everyone in this courtroom to act with a hell of a lot more respect when you come back. Any issue that's brought before the court is a serious matter and should be taken that way, Judge Croesus says. Court dismissed. He slams down his gavel, stands, and calmly walks from the room. I won't swear on a Bible, but it sounds a lot like laughter escaping behind the closed door after he walks through. I'm cuffed and led from the room next, but I don't mind. My story is about to be told. And if people think today has been a circus, they better grab a hold of their peanuts and cotton candy, because it's going to become a whole lot messier and entertaining in the days to come. I'm ready for the real show to begin.